The minority in Parliament is threatening to block the approval of the 2021 budget if government fails to address its concerns about the policy document. The NDC MPs, among others, are asking for the inclusion of the energy sector payment of 6.2 billion cedis in the fiscal tables to reflect in the corresponding fiscal deficit. They also want government to comprehensively outline how it intends to use the revenues generated from the new taxes and levies. Leader of the NDC caucus, Haruna Iddrisu, at a news conference Thursday, accused government of using illegal means to further burden the ordinary Ghanaian.
We simply are saying that don't just blame COVID. Lack of fiscal prudence, mismanagement of the economy accounted for some of those issues. We note that for the 2019 fiscal year, government reported a fiscal deficit, as I said, of 4.8% of GDP. Whilst at the same time, as confirmed by the IMF in their April 2020 staff report on Ghana, a fiscal deficit of 7.5% of GDP was reported. It means mathematically that about 8.2 billion of some expenditure or debts was concealed. So they want to look good, they spend money, they keep away that expenditure, and international best practice of the fiscal deficit table, there's a standard to it. You must report accurately every expenditure that is done. So we are demanding that the fiscal deficit, including arrears for the 2020, be corrected in the budget statement to reflect the actual figure of some 17.5% of GDP. Because if you add up some of those expenditures, he excludes, for instance, 6.2 billion Ghana cedis, being what government refers to energy sector payments. Are they payments and expenditure or not? Why is it excluded from the computation of the difference between our revenue and our expenditure, when in fact they themselves in the budget admit to 6.2 billion being energy sector payments?
He disagreed with the majority leader over the Speaker's authority to block the approval of the budget. Alban Bagbing is threatening not to send the appropriation bill to the President for his assent, even if it is approved by the House, unless there is agreement on the estimates for the legislature and judiciary. As far as Mr. Iddrisu is concerned, the Speaker is clothed with the authority to do so if need be.
We are not confusing the office of the Speaker with Parliament as an institution. If Parliament has no power, then why did you bring a budget to them to approve? So separate and distinguish the office of the Speaker from Parliament as an organ of state that exercises oversight and exercises control over the public purse. Even as we may not be able to increase by practice, we may be able to reduce. I don't think that you are inviting us to say that we'll run down the President's request. We have power to do that. If he says he wants 1.5 billion, we'll tell him we'll give him 1 billion. Parliament does have power to do that. Unless you have a contrary law that I'm not aware of, that Parliament cannot exercise it. You are in whole when I related to the literature of the myths of Parliament being having control of the public purse. You don't compare our Parliament to the sovereign Parliament of Westminster, but don't confuse the office of the Speaker from Parliament. Parliament has every power to take any decision on the budget, and Parliament will exercise same. And note that this Parliament is 137, 137. Sure. We will stand strongly together